Yo, welcome back to the Audio Theory Podcast featuring your host, Superfly. Got my co-host on the other end, Danny. Day bar is open. What's good, man?
What is good, my dude? How are you feeling?
Chilling. As I mentioned earlier, this work week has been fucking crazy. These holidays that get us on Monday just ruin the vibe for the rest.
Oh, were you off on President's Day?
Yeah, I was off President's Day. A lot of people aren't. So,
yeah, I wasn't.
They may not be feeling what I'm feeling. I mean, it was a good, relaxing break. Usually for those weekends, I don't do too much, especially because it's expensive to fucking do anything.
Right, flights are stupid.
Yeah, flights are stupid, and I mean, you could go like snowboarding or whatever the case is, but it's also super crowded because everyone who never does shit those weekends.
That weekend, yep.
But Friday's almost here, so I'm definitely looking forward to that. I'm gonna be snowboarding in Big Bear, which should be dope.
Super dope. I never snowboarded before, so I'll live vicariously through you, and if you post anything.
Snowboarding's dope. The challenge though is it's one of those. It has a very steep learning curve, so the first few times that you do it, it's like impossible to even think that you could possibly snowboard, and then once you get a grasp of it, it's almost like you've been doing it your whole life. Like you just become fearless and can go down the mountain like it's nothing. But most people don't have the patience or time to fucking take 5 classes and master it, because it doesn't snow all year.
Don't you lose a lot of weight in the fucking doing that as well?
I'm not sure, but I do know that it's a pretty good workout.
Yeah,
you don't really notice
you're
it.
Sweating a lot, even if you shit that weekend, you're probably gonna sweat it out on the slopes.
Yeah,
right?
For sure. And that's the thing, you don't really notice it because it's so cold that when you're sweating, it's kind of an afterthought. But you do fucking just twisting and turning and going back up the mountain down, like it's a lot of work. So it's a pretty good workout.
Very nice, my dude. Hopefully you enjoy that. I ain't got shit going on, man. I had work Monday. That sucked. All my friends have posted shit at the beach. The weather has been dog shit in Florida, and Monday was the most gorgeous day of the year. I was like, bro, fuck this. But it's all good, man. We're here, we're alive, we're well. If you guys haven't heard us in a couple of weeks, we had a little bit of technical difficulty. I don't know what the fuck happened, but we're here. Knock on wood, you'll hear this episode.
Yeah.
This is somewhat of an emergency episode. For those who don't know, today is February 19th, 2020. You woke up to the news. It happened. I heard the news around 11 a.m. on the East Coast. Pop Smoke was gunned down at a rental property in Los Angeles today. Real name Bashar Jackson, 20 years old, dude. I did not know he was that young. For some reason, I feel like he carried himself around like a vet. So I kind of feel like he was a dude who's been around forever, but just started rapping, but was 27, 28.
Yeah. And
then when I heard he was 20 years old, that shit kind of hit me even worse. So episode 18 is going to be Long Live the Woo. For you guys who don't know, Pop Smoke had 2 mixtapes that came out, The Woo, and then The Woo Volume 2 that came out last, I think, 2 weeks ago. And it's actually going to debut in the top 10 on the Billboard 200 come Monday. So salute to him and his family. But I figured we had to do this episode, bro. I feel it's a fucking epidemic. Every week, or it feels like, dude, we're doing a rest in peace episode every 3rd episode or some shit.
Yeah.
So pretty much, let's first go through the emotions of it. So when you found out about the news, what were your initial reaction those first hour or 2?
Yeah, for sure. And just to go back real quick, I mean, now that I think about it, we obviously have to create thumbnails for these videos, and I recall having to use or at least thinking of using the Halo fucking imagery on multiple thumbnails. So it's crazy that literally a 4th of the episodes we put out mentioned death, or a recent death, which is
Nipsey,
insane.
Juice,
yeah, Nipsey, Juice, Mac Miller, and now Pop Smoke. And when I woke up, I was obviously surprised. Emotionally, I mean, just like anyone else who's not too close or familiar with someone, you might be distanced from it. I wasn't overcome with a mountain of sadness or anything. I unfortunately didn't have a chance to even build a connection to his music or become a true fan. But in the back of my mind, ever since the Jack Boys album or whatever, and just hearing about him, I knew he was one of the next big guys in the game, and it's always unfortunate when someone's on the incline and something like this happens. So definitely feel for his family and friends. I don't know too much about him personally, what he was getting into or how it happened. I think a lot of those details are still developing, but super unfortunate. But I think it also draws us to our upcoming points about how or why this stuff is such an epidemic in hip hop, especially in recent years, which is unfortunate and crazy to think about.
Yeah, man. So yeah, super unfortunate. So and to correct myself, his two mixtape were Meet the Woo and then Meet the Woo 2. So for me, man, I was literally, it's similar to the whole Kobe situation. I was doing something, my phone was face down because I'm trying to respect the conversation, and then when I flipped my phone over, and I literally, like, the two group chats I have from New York were fucking blowing up. Like, Pop Smoke dead, Pop. I'm like, bro, what? Like, in my mind, I was like, dude, there's no fucking way. I wasn't numb to it, which I thought in hindsight I might have been, because I'm like, damn, bro. So another rapper dead, but it is what it is. But this one felt different for a multitude of reasons. The initial reaction for me was like, bro, this is happening too often. Like, this is not okay.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, that was like, bro, this is not okay. Like, I didn't know how he died. When I was like, in my mind, I'm like, this is not fucking okay. And then when I heard he got gunned down, I was like, bro, what the fuck? And I follow Pop Smoke on Instagram, and dude, if you look at his story leading up to, I guess, the morning or like a couple hours before it happened, bro, he was living his absolute fucking best life.
His last photo was eerie as hell because it was like the view of Hollywood or the hills and stuff.
Yeah, dude. And then, like, if you see like 4 hours, like, I guess like 10 hours prior, like the day of Tuesday, he's like in a pool in Beverly Hills at the house he was renting, and like just fucking enjoying being out there. Apparently he moved, like, I don't think he owned that house, but he was renting from one of the Desperate Housewives, actually. But he moved out there to fucking get away from like the dumbness.
Yeah.
So that fucking broke my heart. I'm like, bro, like he's been talking about going to LA for a while, because like, yeah, I want to get away from the fucking nonsense that is New York City rap, where like it's jealousy after jealousy constantly, like, just, oh, you're on, like, how can either I be on, and if I can't be on with him, I'm gonna take you down. So that kind of broke my heart too. But dude, when I found out he was 20 years old, bro, that fucked me up.
He did not look 20 years old to me. I could have sworn he was 28 or something, or 30.
Just the way he carried himself, bro. Like, at no point did yes, like, he was a rookie in the sense that, he's the up and comer. And we'll get into like how big it felt like he was about to be. But bro, when I found out he was 20, that shit shook me, bro. Because I was like, bro, you're not supposed to die like this, man. Like the Kobe thing, like, again, we'll go into like what it means on a more spiritual level later. But again, man, being 31 and you being 30, like, the idea of that we're constantly saying rest in peace to people our age or people younger than us, that shit just made me feel super fucking eerie. And like, is like life a blessing? And like, I don't know, man. It's like the whole movement. It's probably still happening. The whole movement of like moms against the NFL because they don't want to put their kids in to get concussions and injuries and shit. I'm like, there should be like a moms group against hip hop. Like, you do not want your kid to be a fucking rap artist, because like this shit is almost like a 1 in 3 chance he's gonna end up dead of like something. And like, that's fucking terrible, bro. Because in no other industry are we. I say we, like, our own culture taking themselves down. Like, this isn't happening in fucking pop music. This isn't happening in fucking rock and roll. It's not happening in country music. It's not happening to actors. Like, bro, it's just hip hop. And I feel like it brings a terrible fucking stigma and a stereotype that gets propelled when you find out. Again, we don't know anything right now because literally this shit happened less than 24 hours ago. But I'll put good money on it. It's like it was another African American who fucking killed him. You know what I mean? Like, I'm pretty sure it's gonna come out. And that just fucking sucks. Yeah. That it's gonna be like your own fucking people are fucking doing this to you. People who know your music, who know who the fuck you are, who know you came from nothing 5 years ago. And that's another thing, bro. They were posting pictures of him, 4 years ago, looking like a child. Like, he was skinny. I was like, bro, this kid, this is a kid. Like, he's a kid. And like, that shit, again, I from an emotional level, again, there was, like you said, I agree with you. Like, I didn't have that connection, like the Kobe thing or the Mac Miller thing, but like this one was still like, damn, bro, fuck, we're killing 20-year-olds now who are just trying to make it and be smart and like move away from this shit. Like that's what we're doing now. That's the new norm. And if that is, bro, that is terrifying, bro. Terrifying.
It's scary. I mean, I will say, I mean, if we're just talking about past history and we're trying to learn from history, I feel like the common denominator is the ones who were gunned down generally had ties to the streets, or at least were trying to emulate it in some way.
Right,
so,
he's a known Crip.
Mm-hmm.
For those.
And it's not like he I mean, I would never say someone deserves to die just because they have gang affiliation or previous affiliation or anything, but I think that's also part of the reason why I wasn't terribly surprised. Like someone like Lil Nas X or Logic or something like that, I would never expect something like this to happen to them unless,
like
and if
J.
it
Cole,
did, and if it did, I would pretty much assume it was like a delusional crazy fan who like just wanted to gain notoriety or something,
like some John Lennon shit.
Whereas when this happened with Pop Smoke, especially considering it was a home invasion, I was like, either one of his friends sold him out or he was flexing too much and somehow like his location got found out by someone on Instagram or some chick or something. And it sounds like based on what's online, you know, that's a possibility.
Nature of both of those, like,
like there's no, and for those who aren't familiar with Hollywood Hills, I mean, it's a very, very rich area, equivalent to something like Beverly Hills or whatever, where shit like this wouldn't go down unless someone specifically planned something like this. I guess in theory you could, you know, these people could have just been robbing, you know, any old house, but I highly doubt that was the case here.
Yeah, it didn't feel like that. I mean, the way they said he was gunned down, multiple shots to the body, it didn't seem like a normal, like, let's just rob this spot and we'll just defend ourselves. Like, we don't know shit, to be honest, right now. It's less than 24 hours, like I said, but it seems like a very much planned, hey, we, like, almost like a very eerie to the way XXX was gunned down, like outside that, the motorcycle store down here in Deerfield. Like they knew exactly where he was gonna be. The car kind of like tracked him down. Like, but what's weird? So you said we mentioned that like he's a known Crip. Again, if anyone listens to Pop Smoke music, and I think I actually had a couple times where I think on our 2020 Vision episode, I just came back from New York, and my heat of the week, I was talking about how like, yo, Pop Smoke is the biggest thing in New York City right now. Like I went to that one club and like everybody was losing their fucking minds to it. But again, his music is violent. Okay, that I'm not gonna deny that. So it kind of goes to that thing where when Juice WRLD died, we didn't make fun, but it's like we kind of just shed light on it. It's like, oh, rapper talks about doing drugs every single day. Rapper died of drug overdose. Why are we shocked about this? So do you think it's fair to have that similar emotion to this, where it's like rapper talks about killing and shooting people nonstop, rapper dies from shooting? Like, you know, like I struggle with that, bro, because again, I feel like at the end of the day, people also are allowed to create music and or art based on past experiences or things they witnessed in their upbringing, right? Like no one will fucking destroy The Rock for making a fucking terrible gang movie, right? Because that's an art form, right? So I wonder if we just lose perspective at times because it's hip hop, and it's like, oh, they're talking about, you know, guns. That's what they do. I feel like I personally don't want to lean on that, because I feel like there's so many artists who just speak about things they witnessed and never partook in. So
that's the weird thing, is even with Billie Eilish's comments, I've heard a lot of people say, we know this rapper doesn't really do this shit, or we know this rapper doesn't do this. You're stating the obvious, but then we have incidents where people try to what's it called? You know, check these rappers in person and see if they're actually about that life. So clearly some people out there aren't taking the lyrics lightly. They're listening to these lyrics and like, oh, this dude says he always keeps a 40 on him or whatever it is, and they catch him at a gas station and then you don't want to rob him. So I feel like it's not a foolproof way of having a career. Like if I go on the scene and start rapping about shooting dudes and shit and they know it's not true, that's not going to prevent someone from trying to test me. Because like Lil Tecca, for instance, has admitted that he's not about that life and he just raps about raps about it because he likes Chief Keef and people like that. But I'm pretty sure I heard of incidents where dudes try to fight him and whatnot. And I think just with this braggadocious culture, like it's bound to build jealousy, especially in, you know, an urban community where there's scarcity and people just want to fucking prove themselves. So I feel like it's negative no matter how you look at it. I mean, we enjoy it because we don't have to deal with the consequences of it, but I think any rapper that puts himself in that light is inevitably gonna have to deal with some shit. And the entertainment and street life, whether or not it's fake, just don't mix, because somebody out there is gonna want to fuck you up just to say they did it.
So do you think it's almost like a case of like speaking that shit into existence? Like if
I
you're
think
talking
so.
about guns, living, like you're saying that's about your life, like you're almost like putting that like that black cloud over your head, and it's gonna kind of like confront you at some point.
I think so, because even if you're faking it and people know it, some dudes who are about that life are gonna be jealous because they're like, yo, this fool's pretending to live my life and making millions. Meanwhile, I'm here literally robbing people to feed my kids. And guess what? I'm gonna fucking snatch your chain because I feel like I deserve it, or I'm gonna blast you in the head and just for fucking, you know, $2,000 because I can. I just feel like there's a lot of people out here who have nothing to lose and will just do anything and catch life if they have to because they have no other choice, or at least they don't think they have another choice.
Yeah, man, that's wild though, man. But I feel like that goes to the whole like thing of like in hip hop culture, you can see someone like thriving, and I feel like the initial reaction isn't like, dude, good for them, bro. Like, yo, like my man had nothing and look at him now. It's more like, fuck, like either I want what he has or how can I take what he or she has? You know what I mean? That's like the unfair consequence, man, of just fucking being like from the hood and trying to get out. And like, dude, it's just fucking freeloading, and it's just like enviness and just fucking like jealousy and like, and the male ego, man. But I wonder if it's like a fucking like minority male ego, like, you know, like Hispanics and, you know, African Americans, is like, yo, if I ain't winning, we can't eat together, bro. And fuck, if I gotta fucking take you out, if that means I can take what you have for a moment, I'm gonna do that. And I just fucking like, I don't know, bro. Like that's such a fucking negative way to fucking live your life. Like, it's just like, how is that okay? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I try to compare it to other cultures, bro. Like, that's not a thing, man. That's nothing that Justin Bieber had to fucking worry about, or Taylor Swift. It's like, all right, maybe I have bad managers.
Yeah.
Okay, but I'm not worried about this motherfucker putting 3 holes in my head. You know what I mean? Like,
well, you can't be. I feel like in hip hop, you can't be humble. Like, people hate that for some reason. Like, you have to be flexing 24/7. If Bieber wants to do it, people are like, okay, whatever. But if he doesn't, people don't really question him. He doesn't have to get on camera fucking throwing money at homeless people and shit. But when it comes to rap, it's almost like if you're not on the scene doing shit, like, you better be a Kendrick or somebody who's made it to a level where that's not even important. But if you're up and coming, like, you have to have some sort of gimmick, I feel like. And the gimmick is usually just doing dumb shit, antagonizing other people, fucking showing off, and then some bored dude from the hood, usually, or all the time, at least from what we've seen, who doesn't have anything better to do, is like, yo, I'm around this dude, let me check him just to boost my ego and, you know, prove that, you know, money doesn't make you hard or a tough guy or whatever the case may be. And it's just like, yeah, I think it's all ego that's driving this bullshit. I mean, female rappers and singers aren't really going to this extent. I mean, they might catch a fist or two in public, but they're not infiltrating homes and shit or trying to get people clapped.
Yeah, dude. And this is like, again, this is fucking, yeah, dude. It's just sad on so many levels. So if you had a kind of putting the blame when we did the whole Juice WRLD one, again, less than like 6 weeks ago, if you had to put the blame on this one, like, which as obviously the person, hopefully they catch the culprit or culprits who did this shit. Yeah. Obviously that's the person who should be blamed. But the overwhelming blame of like, bro, like, this could have been avoided. Like, how did this happen? You know, is it like the security team was fucking garbage and they didn't fucking do their job? Is it on Pop Smoke for either tagging his geolocation or just constantly portraying that fucking guns and shooting mentality, or is it just on hip hop culture as a whole for fucking allowing this to be a fucking norm, bro? Because honestly, man, I saw someone's comments and it feels like it's like a fucking hip hop genocide, bro. Like, bro, it's like, why even invest in liking these niggas, bro? They're literally
they're gonna be here.
Yo.
At first, you would think the career's just gonna disappear, but they're literally disappearing.
They're literally disappearing, bro. Like, if I'm a rapper, I'd rather fall off than fucking be clapped off. You know what I mean? Like, it is fucking wild, dude. Yo, he literally started rapping 2.5 years ago. And 2.5 years later is no longer on this earth. Like, that is fucking wild. Yeah. I saw an interview he did with Nadeska from Everyday Struggle on Beats Music, and he was talking about his 5-year plan. And I'm about to go on a world tour in a month and a half.
Pop Smoke was on Everyday Struggle?
No, he did the Nadeska, the girl.
Oh, okay.
I was
about to say, damn.
No, well, but he did have so the funny thing is, like, I was chilling at home before this episode, and he did have a bunch of press run for the album. So he just did the Angie Martinez show. He just did, and then Beats had him on to talk about Meet the Woo too. And he was talking about, I got a 5-year plan. I'm going on tour overseas. I'm trying to make $823 million before I die. Dude, this guy had actual goals, and what breaks my heart is that he fucking moved away from New York to get away from that shit. So yeah, man. Again, who would you put the overwhelming blame on fucking lost life?
I mean, I think the cause, if we were going to go to what could have prevented this particular situation, I feel like, I mean, it's hard to say unless we know like how he got set up or whatever, but I'd say generally speaking, it's just really paying attention to where you're at, who your team is, and being careful about showcasing your location and all that. Because I know these rappers don't want to come off as paranoid or like they're not about that life, but it seems like every time they get caught lacking, like they don't have the security or team or guns or whatever they're bragging about. So I think rappers just in general need to move smart, and I know people like Drake and whoever must have like Navy SEALs and shit just rolling with them 24/7. Granted, Pop Smoke's he can't probably afford a crazy team like that, but either way, like, I think people need to cool out on, especially ones with gang ties and stuff, like on where they're at and who they're with. And he probably wasn't thinking anything because he's in one of the most affluent areas in California. So,
dude, in the country.
Yeah. So he's probably like, fuck it, I'm in the hills, like the furthest place from Brooklyn in this country, and probably thought nothing of it. But
bro, he was born in Brooklyn and died at a hospital in West Hollywood.
It was crazy. I don't think that's the same Cedars-Sinai, but I was born in Cedars-Sinai.
Oh yeah?
A random point. Doesn't mean anything. But I think when it comes to hip hop and just like the influence, I would say hip hop's not the cause. I mean, he had this energy brought upon him just based on his past, whether or not he is choosing to move on. Like any damage that he may have done or people he may have pissed off in the past isn't probably going to go anywhere, clearly. But I think hip hop music does help contribute to that mindset of just, it's all about me and fuck everybody else, like give nobody props. And I think it just kind of fosters this culture of jealousy in a way. It's just braggadocious, and with that, some people are gonna be pissed off.
Yeah, man. I don't know, bro. Again, obviously there's murderers all around us. People die every fucking day, which is the sad part about it. Every second of every day. But I don't know, man. It just, for me, dude, I'm gonna just put the blame on. I would put the blame on. I'm gonna have to just put the blame on ego and insecurities, bro. Mm-hmm. And insecurities in the male psyche, and not to go all mental health with this shit. I know that's like Charlemagne the God's like territory, but again, just someone who's like trying to be more aware of my surroundings at all times and like consciousness. Like, bro, I don't understand how you can be so jealous of someone else to like literally end someone's life. That doesn't make any fucking sense to me. What shit are you going through that like the only way I can feel like end my suffering for a moment is to literally make someone's situation final and done. Like,
yeah,
that's fucking, again, maybe because thank God I'm wired differently. But bro, like, I don't understand how you just take someone's life. Like, yo, if you literally wanted to rob this dude for jewelry, rob the fucking jewelry, and dude, throw a fucking shot in the air and just fucking get the fuck out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, again, we don't know what happened. I'm sure he was fighting back. He's a big fucking dude. Like, I'm sure he had his own ego as well on the line. He's like, yo, no one's fucking robbed me for my jewelry. But, man, I just don't understand how you fucking kill someone. When again, 20 years old, again, if you want to just really rob them for their jewelry, cause that's pretty much what they were saying about the XXX thing. Like, it was a fucking jewelry thing. But he still got fucking shot in the neck and the head. Like, that doesn't, I mean, like, it just seemed like it was always going to be a murder. You know what I mean? And I felt with this situation, like, they weren't walking into the house to just take jewelry. They were like, yo, I'm going to fucking, this guy even thinks about coming near us, he's done.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I just blame, like, I just blame the weak male ego, bro. Like, this is just, there's too many fucking kids, like, I guess, I'm going to say from the, like, these inner cities and, like, scarce resources, just, like, that don't have fucking dads around, bro, like, don't have right fucking examples, and, like, that seems like a fucking weak excuse, but bro, like, I feel like if you trace this down and you sit some of these guys who are doing these crimes with like psychiatrists, like, dude, like, I feel like a lot of this shit come down to like, yo, they didn't have a fucking good example. They felt like they had to fucking test themselves every single day when they left the house, that they just feel like, yo, if that guy has what I want, just fucking take it from him. And it's like, that's not how the world works, or it shouldn't work that way.
Yeah, I think they're just angry at the world, and they feel like if they want something, they got to take it by force, because they don't think they have the time or patience to work towards it themselves, and they just see it's kind of like a survival tactic based on what they grew up seeing. And it's like, if you let this fool test you, then your bike's gone, or you're always going to get robbed on the way home if you let them do it once. And they probably take it to the extreme. They're just used to being the predator. And they're like, fuck it. If I want something, I gotta go get it. But they take that saying literally and go, and some shit must have went down to where, like you said, Pop Smoke didn't give anything up, or they were just haters to that level and said, fuck it, we're taking them out too, to set an example. Unfortunately, this is going to happen more and more, because a new up and coming rapper with gang ties, or who's about that life and is prideful, is going to be like, it happened to him, but I'm not going to get caught lacking. It's just going to happen. And I hope, like, I kind of thought of DaBaby just because he's one of the more like hood dudes that's real on and popping. I would assume he has more security and is moving a little differently, but
I would hope so, bro.
I kind of get afraid of people like him, because I'm like, all it takes is one dude to sell him out, or him to be caught at the wrong place by some dude who he has history with that just hates him and gets clapped. God forbid that happens, but shit, I think people forget that, they're entertainers to us, but they may have done some dirt in the past, or just pissed off the wrong person. Yeah.
So how do you feel? Because obviously you're closer to it. So I mean, I don't really know like a quick comparison to Miami, but Blueface came out and said, like, he obviously paid respects. This is like the first time that Blueface wasn't being a dick, but he paid respects, but was like, this is a warning though. There's a lot of fucking fake ass dudes in LA claiming to be thugs that will do this shit. So next, you artists who come out here, just check in with the LA rappers who are on to make sure you're moving in the right direction. Like, how do you feel like that concept of like, if you go into an area, if you're going to a state that you don't have anybody who you're close with, like, reach out to people who are on to make sure you're protected at all times. Like, how do you feel about that whole idea?
I guess that makes sense. I mean, obviously don't check in with anybody, so I don't know what that process looks like, but even that kind of concerns me, because I'm like, all it takes is one. I mean, fucking Nipsey was like a god to the Rolling 60s, and all it takes is one dude in the camp to like be like, fuck this shit, I I can't pay rent this week, or this dude rubs me the wrong way, so I'm not going to protect him tonight, or have him check in with the real OGs or something. So I guess my question is, what why would he need to? Where is he going to? Is he going to the clubs and he needs protection there? I feel like I would advise these rappers with ties to just not be fucking doing that shit in the first place. And I guess if they do want to do it, then they have no choice but to fucking check in. But at the end of the day, you're gonna have to sign up with probably professional law enforcement if you want to be sure that if shit goes down, you're actually protected, rather than some random gangster's word who has no loyalty or deserves to be loyal to you in the first place, unless you break them off like 10 grand or something. But even then, you're dealing with dudes who do crime for a living. I mean, it's hard to fucking put in other words, but I feel like there's only so much honor that can go into this game. Like, you never know who you're dealing with. One dude might be sticking to the code, but the other dude might not. So how the fuck are you supposed to know if you're safe or not?
Yo, but this shit goes back, like that concept of checking in goes way back, bro. Because I heard an interview that E40 did. This is before Biggie died, but I think a couple years prior, Biggie was out in the Bay, and people wanted to kill that nigga, kill him. Mm-hmm. And the E40 had to step in and say, nah, chill, we're not doing that. So it took E40 to stop people from killing him, just because this rapper had the audacity to come to a different state and not check in first. So yo, you sure make sure he's okay to be here or not?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, it's the criteria. They got to be hood dudes. Like Lil Nas obviously isn't checking into fucking Houston, Texas and shit if he performs, or Logic. But I guess if they feel like you're claiming to be about that life, maybe that's only when they care.
Yeah, I think that really has to be it, dude. Because I know there was a young Dolph got fucking shot up in Charlotte or North Carolina because he rolled up in the wrong hood, and I mean, it has to be that, dude. Because I remember when I was living in Charlotte, getting a haircut, some other rapper. It was there's a all black college week where they have their own basketball tournament, all those schools. Uh-huh. And all of the hip hop scene is out there, bro. The streets are flooded with party after party and stuff like that. But they were saying one rapper didn't check in, and they shot up his whole fucking trailer outside of a fucking basketball game.
Damn.
And it's people around me were talking about that shit so nonchalant. Yeah, he forgot. Bro, you can't be coming out here talking about this lifestyle and not calling in to make sure you're good to be out here. I'm bro, what? That's a thing?
Yeah.
And I was fucking 25, so I was naive as fuck. But yeah, dude, apparently that's a thing. And I was just so when Blueface said that shit or tweeted that shit, I guess I kind of get it, but that also just seems like a fucking terrible way to fucking live your life. I can't just fucking hop on a fucking plane and go out here without worrying about my life now because of a song.
Yeah. And I don't know the context behind the Biggie shit, but when West Coast and East Coast had a beef, I think it makes sense then. But in terms of the logistics of how that works, it's just kind of weird. I would understand if I was gonna be kicking it at some famous Miami nightclub and which is gonna be out in the open reaping the benefits of the city. But if I'm just fucking performing at a concert, am I gonna get a text from an OG who's yo, break me off X amount, otherwise we're gonna fucking clap you? Then you're just being extorted, and at that point I don't know what to say. I mean, I guess if you choose that lifestyle, you have no choice but to fucking do that if you want to make money off of it. But yeah, it's wild that they got to deal with all that just to not get clapped.
Yeah, man, it's fucking terrible, dude. Again, it's terrible. And again, so we can go. Let's bring it real quick. So what the press is saying thus far. Couple stories out. Again, more will come over the coming days, and I'm sure more will come before our next episode. But one thing was that he was preparing for a party. Two of the brand names that he constantly shouts out in his songs sent him a bunch of free merch for him to just enjoy. And in the video that he posted on Facebook, not on Instagram, it had the address of where he was living down in Los Angeles. So people are saying that someone, screenshotted that and just knew exactly where it was going to be. Another thing said that a girl he was talking to out in LA gave up his information for people to rob him. And then another thing we're saying that he had a full-blown party that night before, and that maybe some people there got jealous, and they obviously knew how to get in and out of his spot easily enough that they came back later on to fucking do that. So either of those three situations are super fucking tragic regardless. Dude, at first when I heard the thing about the address, I was like, idiot, right? Like, why would you do that? But dude, think about it, bro. He's 20 fucking years old. Like, yo, you're not thinking you're not thinking about that shit, bro. Like, you're just like, yo, dude, look at me getting fucking free merchandise, bro. Life is good. Like, I'm so fucking happy right now. Like, dude, like, so in my mind, I'm like, idiot, but like, it doesn't fucking, like, yo, how many fucking rappers post on Instagram and geotag exactly where they are, bro? Yeah. They're at Story Nightclub. They're at Hakkasan in Vegas. They're at Tao. They're at fucking Nobu's Santa Monica. Like, bro, if you want to roll up on someone, you can fucking roll up on anyone, to be perfectly fucking honest. Like, so if that's the case and that's how they fucking caught him, that's just fucking sad that we live in a life now, in a world now where you can't even just gladly just fucking, bro, I can't like share. I don't know, bro. Like, he wasn't doing anything, bro. He wasn't fucking, hey, come meet me at fucking 3355 Los Angeles Boulevard. It was like, bro, like, yo, look at this fucking free merch I got, bro. I'm fucking excited as shit. And again, it just takes me back to that entire dude. His entire 24-hour Instagram story was just like happiness, 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 happiness. Like, he hinted that he has an album, or he has enough material to put an entire album out with Quavo. It's like, Jesus, bro. Like,
what's crazy is, if that is what happened, and it wasn't like just an inside job, it goes to show you how many of your haters might be just constantly obsessing over everything you do and watching what you post, just waiting for a reason or a moment to fucking catch you slipping and fucking do whatever it is to embarrass you or just end your life. Like, it is pretty terrifying. It's
terrifying, bro. It's terrifying, man. And like, again, rest in peace to Pop Smoke, aka Bashar Jackson, man, gone way too soon. And then I'll just briefly touch upon, like, bro, there was a very, very tangible movement happening in New York music with Pop Smoke and the whole New York City drill music scene. He had a lot of love in London because his producers from out there. I'm telling you, man, again, I never heard him before I got to New York this winter, and then, dude, when I left, I had every song already added to my fucking phone, because that was like a tangible thing, man. I walked into that fucking nightclub, terrified as fuck for my life, but when that shit came on, bro, everyone who may have had beef was just stopping and like knew every lyric to every song that he had, man. And the fact that he started the year off with that whole Gotti song, and he literally had Travis Scott in the hood with him driving around a fucking Bugatti. Like, you would think, yo, your shit's about to take, yo, because there's what, 2 or 3 people bigger than Travis Scott right now? No, we're being perfectly honest. Like, who's bigger than Travis Scott? And the fact that they do, and personally, I could be biased, but Gotti fucking made that Jack Boys album. Like, that's
so I listened to it again, because I remember I told you when I first heard it, I was like, what the fuck is this? I think it was less about the song and more about the fact that it was completely far from what I expected Travis Scott to even like collaborate with. Yeah. So I was like, what the fuck? Did this shit go to did the album end and the algorithm just said, fuck it, I'm playing anything?
Let me just add something else.
Yeah. But I heard it again and I'm like, damn, his style was refreshingly unique. At least from what we hear in the US. Maybe the UK is more similar, but that beat was pretty hard, and just the vibe of the beat, it was kind of cinematic.
So the rumor is that was Pop Smoke's song already. He already had that song. Okay. And Travis heard it and bought everything, so it was taken off YouTube immediately. And then he told him to let him jump on and add it to the Jack Boys album.
And he knew it was gonna propel him forward.
100%. Yeah. That song was out in New York since like mid-November or some shit. Yeah, because maybe
I guess that's not that long ago.
In November, early December. Yeah, because my boy, when I was talking to my boy Steven, he was saying like, yo, like, this is like Pop Smoke's song, and they made him like take it down. So it's funny how like that shit works, bro. So rest in peace to Pop Smoke, man. Again, I think again it was a very tangible movement. If he would have been around for another 5-10 years, I mean, he would have probably had like the baby type success. Like, yo, he was definitely trending in the very high direction. So yeah, man, it's just fucking sad. So yeah, I really don't have anything else to add besides that. Just fucking sad. And I saw a couple of memes like back in the day when, like, not back in the day, a couple of weeks ago when Kobe died, about the whole like dude, going like leaving your house and coming back home is such a blessing, and we take that shit for granted. So if anything, this is more of like that understanding, bro. Like,
what's sad is he never even left his home, or the home he rented. So it's like, shit, even at home something could happen.
Even at home, bro. So yeah, dude, it's a fucking, every day's a fucking blessing. This shit's gonna fuck with me for a while, just because it's just weird seeing so many people either my age or younger, or just slightly older, dying, and it's like, yo, what, like, why am I still here? And then am I wasting fucking time by just like having a day where I do nothing? You know what I mean? Like, should I be constantly fucking moving, doing other shit? So yeah, man, that's pretty much all I gotta say on that, man. So shout out to Pop Smoke and his family. I'm sure fucking devastated right now. And I know New York City's fucking hurting right now hard. So rest in peace to the young legend.
Yep, rest in peace. Hopefully this shit doesn't continue into the future. Inevitably it will. I feel like in the long run it's just gonna get to a point where people are like, you know what, being a rapper's a huge risk to your life. Pursue it at your own risk, sort of thing, unless you want to make like straight up cookie cutter positive music that half of the people don't even want to consider hip hop.
Dude, but what I also would say, man, this is even more fucking reason, because I know obviously it's a quick comparison because he made drill, which is a UK based music. But bro, this shit doesn't happen in the UK because the fucking gun laws are so fucking aggressive. Like, you don't want to be caught with a gun in your hand, right? Yeah. So that all goes back to like, yo, fucking capitalism and fucking all these companies out here making money off people having guns is, you know, this is a fucking problem, bro. Like, you know what I mean? So it's almost like, yo, if you hear this shit, not to push, you know, politics on anybody, but bro, vote for those candidates who are fucking gonna put these gun shits away, man, because like, make these gun laws like so, like, the idea of you even wanting a gun will fucking put you in jail. You know what I mean? Like, yeah. Because like, bro, like, guns terrify me personally.
That's what they kind of. So I think, and again, not to get political, I think I feel like it's something we're gonna have to deal with forever, just because even if we pass a law that said take guns away from everyone, there's just too many already at this point. But didn't they implement something in New York where basically having a gun is like the worst thing on the planet? So like, if you're caught, you're absolutely
fucked. I think in 2012 or 2008, Plaxico Burress, a fucking wide receiver from the New York Giants, shot himself in the leg, and he was about to do fucking 15 years in jail. For the single fact you had a unregistered gun in New York City. Like, yo, that's how it has to be, bro. It has to be that aggressive, because I feel like a lot of these things can fucking be avoided. Because again, in the UK, if they fight, it's fucking knives. And like, all right, bro, like, that's still terrible, but fuck, you have a better chance of coming out of fucking alive as opposed to every fucking body having a gun. And it's like, oh fuck, like, yeah, you want to end my life, I have nothing to do. So I would just say, if there's someone else to blame, though, these fucking these laws out here are pretty wild, that anybody and everybody can have a gun, and it's like no big deal. And like, someone else fucking dies of gun violence in fucking America, like, what? No shock whatsoever. Yeah,
for sure. And a lot of people are like, well, most of these guys have unregistered guns, but I guess this is the workaround, is you deter people by saying, yo, if you get caught with one, I don't care what the fuck you're doing, you know, you might end up fucking missing a few decades. Then maybe some people will be like, fuck it, it's not worth the risk
at all. All right, man, so that's episode 18 in the books. Long live the woo. Appreciate you guys for checking in. We'll have more content on the way, hopefully positive. celebrating life as always. But again, rest in peace to Pop Smoke, also known as real name Bashar Jackson.
Sure. All right, man. Until next time.
Later, brother.
Peace.